still working with the Archdiocese right now, and with developers who are coming in, we can get money from those developers either to build a school on their new site, on affordable housing or other housing sites, or get a contribution toward expansion of our existing schools, and that will enable us to create those classrooms in the southwest section of the city so that the parents who have children here have the choice. They can send their child to a neighborhood school, they can send their child to a school that has a program they want, Montessori, International Baccalaureate, one of the magnet programs, Pearls, so that the people, see, there you go. But that's, people need a real choice. Right now, if you have a child, 2 children in Southwest, you probably only have the choice to send one of them to your neighborhood school, and one of them's got to get on the bus, whether you want them to or not. That's not a real choice. So we need to continue that progress so that every child has the ability to go to a school in their neighborhood with their friends, or go to a program their parents want them to go to. We've opened up government. We've done town hall meetings now for 2.5 years, every month around the city. And that opened up government. We brought our commissioners out with us and gives you an opportunity to come and talk to us and ask us any question you want. And we have crime is down. And I was here the night this place was packed because it was a real bad crime spree. And it's not finished, and we're not done yet, and we still have work to do. But we've made significant progress. And with the police force being bigger than it was, and the largest it's ever been, we will continue to make that kind of progress. Thank you.
Thank you. I realize I failed to give you guys the ground rules. What we were searching for with our questions here, we're going to have quite a few questions from the community, including I've got about another dozen index cards that people filled out. I'm not going to read any of them literally, but in combination with each other, I think we can come up with 3 decent questions. Meanwhile, I hope that they will be relatively short questions. Short, pithy answers would be terrific. I'll start to take noise if you go over 3 minutes. And for the most part, we will ask the same question of each of you, so there will be no need really to respond to the other, and we'll take your turn first. Sure. Okay, there you go. So who does start?
Okay, I will start. Tony, with you, how will you guarantee equal educational opportunity and the push for more neighborhood schools? How can we avoid second-class status for new programs created in Southwest Yonkers?
Sure. One of the problems that the city had years ago when the school system was declared to be a segregated school system was that an unequal education was being provided. Children in some schools were not getting a good education. Children in other schools in the city were getting a good education. And it was determined by the judge to be territorial because the neighborhood school system. That was changed when the federal deseg order came into effect. And basically the judge said you cannot have a neighborhood school system until the city is integrated. After the last census, the city was determined to be integrated, and it took until we were able to finally end this housing desegregation order before we could start solving the problem of recreating a neighborhood school system. And I say the problem because it's a problem when your child can't go to school in your own neighborhood. And that's a problem for most parents, because that means they may not be able to get to a teacher or get to a counselor to talk about the education of their child, to solve some of the problems that they have, because they just don't have access to them. So the way to make for a better education system is, number 1, we have to build the schools or create the schools or expand the schools where the children are. Number 2, we have to make sure that every program is available to every child, and that's exactly what's happening in the city right now. Every program is available. In fact, under the neighborhood school program, when I spoke with the superintendent and the trustees, 80% of the classrooms in every school will be reserved for the neighborhood, and the other 20 can be balloted in by anybody else in the system. But we've got to make sure that they don't go to 1 or 2 schools, because those are the only 2 schools that are giving a good education. That can never be the case. It's frankly not the case now. Our elementary schools are doing very well, and they're getting better. We've got more people putting them in the pre-K and keeping them in right through grade school. And as we expand to K-8, they will do more. They're staying. As far as the high schools, our high schools are still not graduating at the high rate that they should be. But 4 years ago, 63% of our students entered the high school level and graduated. That went to 66, then to 69% last year, and the superintendent said he expects that will be as high as 75% this year. So progress is being made to educate our children so they can graduate school, and the standards are tougher. So they're graduating in higher numbers and a higher percentage under a tougher curriculum and tougher requirements under the state requirements, and no child left behind. We have 4 blue ribbon schools now, and they're distributed around the city. So the things that are supposed to be happening to our schools are happening. We need to accelerate the pace of that. And we need to do that because every year that we go large, every child can't get the kind of education you need to. That's a year that child is set behind. We can't afford that. So what we're doing is we're building the schools where they need to be. We are making sure that they get the equipment and all of the services they need. And we put enough money into our capital budget to really start fixing some of the existing schools that are deteriorating and expanding the existing school system so we can locate a, that will guarantee a much better education for our children.
Same question.
Robertson.
Thank you. We clearly, in my opinion, have to make a correlation between your property taxes and our school system. How many times have we heard somebody say that they're leaving Yonkers because of the schools? Now, I know a lot of the children getting a quality education. Pearls, Montessori. I visited all the schools in my district and many of the schools outside of my district. The question was a quality education for all the children, all 24,000, 25,000, depending upon which statistic you're looking at. The way to do that is to make education a priority. This city council has made education a priority. This Democratic city council has made education a priority. Now the administration needs to make education a priority by opening up the school system. It can't just be one person's paradigm. It's got to be everybody involved in the school system. That's why the way we govern our school needs to change. That's why I suggested that we have council members, put members of the trustees on board. Teachers should be involved in that process. Maybe the students should be involved in that process. What is it? We have the experts right here in our system. We have 9 people, as I see it, 9 people bunkered down making decisions for all the children. And not all of the schools are doing well. We know there's a lot of schools that aren't doing well. All the schools need to do well. They will do well when we make it a priority. It's really that simple.
So Mr. Robertson?
Okay,
Okay, the next question, that'll be helpful for us, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Oh, how about each of you, Mayor and Councilman Robertson, was closely involved with John Spencer's development efforts, in particular with the IDA and LPC. What, if anything, do you now regret about actions taken then? And what, if anything, would you now like to change about the results of those actions?
Regret about...
Actions taken?
Okay.
Have a role in the last 10 years?
Okay, let's not forget two facts. In 1993, I ran against John Spencer for the Yonkers City Council, and in 2003, Phil Amicone was his handpicked successor. Those are two facts. I was on the IDA for 10 years, and part of that time, Mayor Spencer was the mayor. I know I did an excellent job as a member of the IDA to attract businesses. When I left the IDA, I said, we don't have to do this anymore. We are a destination. We don't have to give away $200 million tax break. We don't have to do what happened in Ridge Hill. The mayor left $124 million of your money on the table in Ridge Hill. How would you like to get 84 acres for $35 million? That land lease was worth over, well, $124 million, but it was $6.4 million times 77 years, and he sold it for $35 million. That's outrageous. That can never happen again. And I gotta tell you, as a chairman of real estate, since 2006, this whole SFC project, the whole process was different. If I was the chairman of real estate, Ridge Hill was before us right now, it would have been a very, very different project. That I assure you. So I don't regret anything that I've ever done. John Spencer's my friend. We were briefly business partners. That failed miserably. I hear a lot about it. He's still my friend. I talk to my friend John. He has nothing to do, certainly, with my candidacy. Had everything to do with getting this man elected 4 years ago. So I guess that's the answer to the question.
No. What do I regret? Nothing about being mayor, nothing about being deputy mayor. Unfortunately, I do regret a personnel move that I made, which I had to undo, and it worked much better, because I needed the people surrounding me who were interested in doing what we needed to do and work with me, with my personality and with my agenda. And now I have those people. I'm glad that John Spencer did support me, but you know what? John didn't handpick me. You did. The people